new there. You seem like a great viewer that'd like to help a guy who's down on his luck. To fill you in, about a month ago I released my FNAF movie review video, the very video you probably clicked on just now. Well, NBC Universal didn't seem to like that I uploaded this video, and they didn't seem to like my appeal either. So much so that this is my 4th time trying to re-upload this video. And I'll be damned if I let multiple hours of my life go to waste because NBC Universal says so. And because apparently everyone else can use even less edited FNAF movie clips than I can. But if you're a returning viewer who's just about to click off this video, please don't. Could you just put it on in the background instead? YouTube tends to not like it when a lot of people click off of a video right away. And that's why most re-uploads that aren't even on their 4th time trying do shit. But if you could just genuinely help out a guy who's put over a day's worth of time into this video, I would enjoy that so much. And if you want to, go check out my newest movie review too. That one's not doing so good either. I can't say I've gotten the warmest welcome from the review genre, but hey, it is what it is. And with that, I'll leave you with the video. See you around. The movie starts out with a random ass night guard freaking out and trying to vent. He sprints a short bit and is caught by a silly fox robot, and oh my fucking god, is that Freddy Fazsaw trademark 2023? Oh dear god, is this movie going to be an acid trip? So the night guard just basically fucking dies to this random ass saw blade mask that really doesn't have any business existing. And I just don't have any idea what the writers are already thinking within the first 2 minutes. But don't worry, that's not gonna be a common theme for this movie. Not at all. We genuinely get a nice opening credits scene that I actually really like. It's really reminiscent of the minigames of the series, and it's a good way to convey a backstory to new viewers of the franchise. So yeah, this is Mike. He does the security. Oh wait, what's this? Guy taking a child? I better just randomly beat him up without any critical thinking. Oh no, Eepers Jeepers! The guy was kid's father, and I just beat a dude in front of his kid. Anyways, Mike gets sent to mall detention with Principal Shaggy, and he needs a new job now. So after a bunch of boring dialogue, Shaggy gives him a card to call him if he wants the night shift at Freddo's, and he sends his ass back on his merry way. Big Mike over here goes home to his schizophrenic sister, who basically says a lot of nothing and then goes to sleep. Mike basically has this memory dream where his mother tells him to parent his brother for a minute, and EDP decides he wants a cupcake, so he just kidnaps his brother after he gets distracted by its frisbee. Great freaking job, younger Mike. Now we're just at a school, apparently. This chick is Mike and Abby's aunt. We don't like her. She wants custody of Abby and does a fake Amber Heard cry while talking about Mike's most recent Smash Ultimate match. So she basically gives Mike an ultimatum that says, give me that kid or I use the court to give me that kid. Mike's like, nah, fuck you. And then he moves on with his life. And the principal lady is like, oh, you better get a job so you can look better in court. And Mike's like, yeah, all right, I gotcha. Mike calls up Shaggy and is all like, yeah, I'll take that dog shit job now. And then Shaggy is all like, yes. And then proceeds to exposition dump the entire lore of the place on Mike as he drives like he's fucking Matt Pat.
But hey, just a theory, just a film.
Mike decides to watch some shitty analog horror video, and a lot of nothing really happens. Mike's all like, it's a good day to die, and then investigates the entire place after putting on a uniform. You know what? Good on him. Bro ends up just sleeping on the job, and the intercoms decide to make some funny noises and make creepy shit happen. He has that same memory dream thing where he loses his brother to Mini Lad after a frisbee caught his attention for too long. But get this, now there's 5 silly kids just chilling with him. He attempts to communicate with them, but they aren't exactly interested and run like Jonachrome slid into their DMs. Mike just trips on a rock and fucking dies, and oh boy, 6 a.m. Anyways, Amber Heard is just chilling at lunch with the babysitter Mike's been hiring, and evil woman monologuing aside, she's trying to dig up dirt on Mike so she can get the kid for like the money that the state gives you, or like the child, I don't fucking know, but she's rich enough to have a lawyer, so why does she need this money? Unsurprisingly, Mike's pretty clean, so they decide to get him fired by breaking into Freddo's so he'll look worse in court, I guess. Oh my fucking god, is that
Theory.
Boys, night 2 boys, let's go! Mike does the sleeping again for plot reasons, and Foxy's all like, it's time to take a time and visit some sea shanties with our pro tag. I don't know what that, what was that sentence? Send help! Mike decides to have another dream about his brother, this time resulting in him getting fucking knifed by a kid and then waking up. About 20 seconds seconds of spooky lights later, everything is back to rundown building normal. Some random ass cop shows up and excessively rings the doorbell, which I have a hunch that if one of y'all check, it's probably Morse code. I don't know, I'm either a dumbass or I'm insane. Just check it out. Anyways, the cop chick's name is Vanessa. Wait, no way. Vanessa, like from the hit video game Five Nights at Freddys security breach? MatPat, get on this shit right now. Anyways, that British shanking Mike received from the ghost kid turned out to transfer over to reality, and now Van's gonna patch him up. Van says some mysterious shit like, oh, you're gonna quit, and other tension builders for plot. Lore drops some more, and then vaguely talks about dead kids for like 2 seconds. She then just goes around showing Mike the place, makes showtime happen, and Bonnie plays the killer bass and just fucking blows up. Van gives him his badge, and the night ends. Cool, I don't care anymore. We are a third of the way into the movie, and nothing has happened. Okay, being real for a second, I want to address something that does not make sense to me in my dumb 17-year-old brain. Now, the babysitter and her brother Jeff's plan is to get Mike fired by breaking into the place and making him look bad, right? I'm waiting for you to say something. This is a Dora episode. You say see or no. So why in the hell are they breaking in after he leaves and through a completely different entrance that he opens and closes with some sort of instrument like a crowbar? Like, let me set this all out for you. Mike is off duty. He only enters and exits from the front, and he always locks it. So they break in from the back by prying up a garage door after he's left and no longer surveying the place. How would this be reasonably his fault? And why would a normal person fire him for it? Like, am I just too young to understand some sort of stupid legal agreement, or did I miss something entirely in the movie? I'm only addressing this now because it only becomes very, very, very partially involved with the overall plot and literally doesn't mean shit. Anyways, Jeff and his gang pry up the back door and go on and start smashing a bunch of shit. May I add, with no masks in a building filled with security cameras to get a guy who works in the security field fired. We here as writers at the FNAF movie are only the most competent and capable people. So anyway, Bonnie gets bricked up after hearing all this shit happening and goes to touch some delinquents. One dude is in the kitchen and he hears some spooky shit happening in an icebox. So like any other normal person, he approaches the danger and opens the icebox. Oh, and what a cute little cupcake. I sure hope it doesn't have the taste for human flesh in favor of the neck. Yeah, this dude fucking dies. I want to preface this by saying we aren't even 45 minutes into the movie and the writing is quite literally making no sense. How is the cupcake alive and sentient with its own free will? And don't say it's because of a fifth soul trapped in it. It's later established the Golden Freddy does exist in this universe and that there's only 5 victims. So again, how is this thing alive and acting on its own free will? Last I checked, the building they're in wasn't fucking Hogwarts. So again, how is this thing alive and acting on its own free will? It also later establishes that the kids only haunt the animatronics their bodies were stuffed into. The cupcake isn't physically attached to Chica, so realistically, her spirit really can't be giving it this level of consciousness that will be shown further and later on in the movie. So aside from the scenes with the cupcake and them looking just incredibly goofy, the cupcake just kind of breaks all logic from the established rules in the universe and material. And I can see an argument being made for its movement being that they can just haunt things in the restaurant, but it's all just flickering lights and speakers. And I think closing a door, ironically enough, that could have just been the cupcake itself. Don't even get me started on the saws in the cupcake's mouth, because how does that make sense? What has my life come to? I am debating the logic of a psychotic cupcake in a spooky Chuck E. Cheese movie. You'll see more of what I mean later on. Back to the massacre at hand. Screams and mechanical shredding are heard from the kitchen. Chica's eyeing a piece of the Beardo's ass, and the dude sprints away to save his cake. Beardo locks himself in a storage closet and starts shitting himself as he's promptly ended by Bonnie's full charge floor smash attack, and he loses his stock. Big boy Jeff sees that Bonnie is coming to whoop his 157% damage ass, and he decides that to keep his final stock and to win the game, he needs to run like a little bitch and hope to last till sudden death, where all he'd need to do is throw a frisbee at Bonnie's shins to have enough force to send him hurling through the sound barrier into space at Mach 10. Old Jeffy boy locks himself in the office and sees the cupcake making its massive, luxurious plot hole having ass through the vents to the office to go chew on his leg like the dog toy he is. You know, Jeff, not wanting to die and being the only sensible horror movie character in the world, decides to find and guard the vent grate as fast as he can and holds up for like 20 seconds before everything just gets quiet. And of course the door opens to the office, so you know he's just gonna walk towards it and die. Because of course, that's the sensible thing to do. Big Jeff runs to the exit, but surprise, it's locked! And with the big fox lad approaching him to sell car insurance, he decides to, well, to be fair, he can't really do much besides smack that door and cry while sea shanties blast his eardrums. Nice job, bucko! The babysitter, who's been like their getaway driver, has just been chilling and decides, you know what, it's been long enough, and it's time to investigate why Big Jeff ain't back with the loot. A grated door opens and she's all like, ooh, ominous door opened! Better go throw myself into a room and recreate the bite of 87. No, that was a joke. No, stop! Stop! Oh my fucking god. Okay, well, she's now 50% lighter. Goals, people. The ultimate weight loss trick, even. This here, people, is what the dye industry doesn't want you to know. Not much interesting stuff happens here. It's just a bunch of random-ass dialogue I really don't care about. And apparently Vans is here to arrest Michael. I didn't make the joke, by the way. The movie did it itself. Vanessa is here to charge him with criminal negligence or some shit because he didn't lock the fucking garage door. I'm sorry, that was pried open. This is what I mean when I say the plan doesn't make any sense. Anyways, Mike just starts lore dropping about his brother to Vans, so Matt Pat can probably just make his 400th theory video on FNAF already. And apparently, because his brother died, he's pill popping to like memorize it better. I don't fucking know. Another plot hole I'm noticing: how in the ever-loving hell did Vans not find any dead bodies or blood in this pizzeria? I'm sorry, somebody's face quite literally got turned into orange juice, and I'm just to expect Vans didn't see anything? She's a police officer. There's no way she didn't just see nothing. And because she knows Freddy's, like she claims she does, why does she just not check the security cams? And don't say, well, Rello, the breaker was off. The cams weren't on. Jeff quite literally uses the cameras while the breaker is off to see the cupcake coming through the vent. That says enough. I'm sorry, this is just a story I don't buy. Mike can't get a babysitter, so he just brings Abby to work because why not? Mike gets BB jump scared again and finds some blood. I guess the animatronics, haunted by literal children, are professional janitors. Mike spends like 2 hours cleaning up the entire place, and then he just goes to sleep again, learning nothing, obviously. Abby, like the child she is, decided to go use the restroom and pokes around the stage area. Oh dear lord, the screams. Mike rushes to find Abby getting... oh, okay. Tickled by 8-foot animal robots. Fredo is now a happy boy who doesn't wish to bite of 87 people. And Abby decides to scribble some bullshit to show the spirits like pictures, so that's cool, I guess. And that's the night done. Wow, how thrilling. Some more nothing dialogue happens. More brother lore, I guess. And get this shit. They built a fucking blanket fort with the killer robots. Oh, and Bonnie decides to just fucking die, I guess. Mike finds a springy suit for a second, and he seems he has the desire to lose at least a finger or a whole hand. Vans, in retaliation, releases government documents in a Discord server named Thugshaker Central to teach Springlocks and snaps them shut to show how easy and dangerous they are. You know, Silver Eye style. Vans does some monologuing about letting go of Garrett, performance happens, and Abby fucking dies. Mike is threatened by Vans to never take her back to Fredo's. Really, no way, that's insane. They all go home. Abby gets mad at Mike for the sight of her aunt. She goes all angry style and scribbles them out of every one of her drawings, you know, pretty sensible, I guess. Amber Heard is being Amber Heard, you know. Mike goes back to Fredo's with his special Dr. House prescribed pills to do some intense sleeping. The kids give Mike a perfect dream where Garrett is safe and not the victim of Mini Lad. In return, they request to have Abby, which Mike just gives her to them. So fuck yeah, bros before hoes. Unfortunately, Mike has a moral compass and he immediately later takes it back, but old Foxy isn't too happy and then proceeds to give him the London triple mugging smackdown. Oh hey, Freddy Fazsaw, trademark, is back! Mike just stumbles upon the corpses hanging out in the fucking open, so I know either Vanessa's the worst cop in existence or is just straight up Helen Keller. Anyways, Foxy pops a cap in his ass and we just cut back to the Mike residence. Golden Fredo just becomes a character at this point and decided, you know what, he can just leave the pizzeria and commit a double whammy hammy smackdown on Amber Heard and just fucking abduct Abby and take an Uber back to Fredo's. What is this movie? filthy. Vans, in the meantime, just decided to save Mike somehow. I genuinely don't know how she managed to, and it's never elaborated on. They wanted to kill him. She saved him. If she went there and was obviously saving him, she wouldn't exactly be alive now, would she? So yeah, that makes sense. Vans says the kids want to kill Abby and turn her into them. So what are they gonna stuff her in? Because there's only 5 characters she could be. All of them are taken. Are they just gonna custom tailor her a suit? Or Vans opens up and drops a dude called Willie as her father, and he's been behind the EDP kidnap. This includes Mike's brother. Oh yeah, William Afton is a character in this movie. I wonder how much time is left for this movie to flesh him out. Mike gets a few tasers and decides to go all die hard on this mission and do some vent crawling. Abby seems a little determined to be the 6th kid to die at Freddo's and follows a stranger into a dark alley. Excellent job parenting, Mr. and Mrs. Mike Schmidt. Anyways, some action shit happens. Chica was attempting to mug Abby, but Mike is there to save the day with his taser, so that's cool. Because Abby was not mugged, the Cupcake took it as a personal insult and decided to go make a 40-page call-out post on Twitter as to why Abby and Mike are slightly bad people. Freddo and the gang retweet the post to make it look like more people agree. After the call-out post failed, the Cupcake decided to show up at Mike's house unannounced and post a picture of his house on its Instagram story and claim that they just wanted to visit to its 5 million Instagram followers. That also backfires. The Cupcake then just decides the next best thing to do is just gnaw at his leg. Abby runs away and then the Cupcake decides to gain the power of fucking levitation. Foxy thinks it'd be a nifty idea to use his hook to turn Abby into a nice kebab. Oh dear God, William is finally here and I have a shit ton to say about him. So William is in a Springlock suit and gets fucking shot and tased and just moves on like he isn't wearing a high-tech Iron Maiden that was previously established to be hypersensitive and fucking bats Mike and Vans to the ground. May I add that William's suit is basically tank armor, and googling the thickness steel needs to be says the suit, at least in the chest area, needs to be thicker than 6 millimeters to stop the bullet the way it did. Keep that in mind because it'll be a little useful later. This isn't even taking into account the force from the bullet that should have triggered at least one of the hypersensitive spring locks, causing him to fucking die. Looking back where Willie is tased, you may be like, oh, this is fine. The electricity is conducted by the large metal suit around him instead of himself. That's why he isn't affected by the taser. And that part, I'd say you're right. But the entirety of the inside of the suit is covered in mechanical moving parts held back by spring locks that need what to move? Electricity. So that movement generated by the electricity being shot into Willie's suit probably should have spread off the spring locks too. William should have been dead twice in the span of 5 minutes already. So the way he goes out will probably need to be more powerful than a bullet to set it off, right? Right? The Cupcake kills him. The Cupcake that barely made a dent in Mike's leg with over triple the time rips a 6-inch hole in William's 6+ millimeter thick steel suit. I'm sorry, were the writers fucking high? Anyway, some movie climax shit happens. The building just starts inexplicably falling apart and the main character trio escape after Vans got the casual London experience. We cut to a normal day, Vans is recovering and Mike says some basic shit like, wake up or some shit please. Well, yeah, that was the movie ever. Okay, another side tangent to point out more writing flaws I'm noticing. How come there's like no police investigation happening around Mike? Because last I remember his aunt just died in his house. Not even that alone, a bunch of people went missing earlier in the movie in Freddy's and no investigation or suspicion is on Mike at all. Well, anyways, the movie is over, so what are my honest and true thoughts about it and ranking? Well, first, the FNAF movie is a pretty faithful adaptation of the games, which is always a good sign. As its category as a horror movie though, I genuinely cannot say it scared me once. That could just be because I'm heavily conditioned by the games to find no fear in robotic fursuits, but this movie is all over the place for me. Any scene that was supposed to be scary was pretty much fucking hilarious to me because it's absurdity. Most of these scenes were just the Cupcake in general because the effects were so bad with it, it just comes off so cheesy it's good. I mean bro, seeing Mike's ass getting shit whipped by a Cupcake that's like a 30th of his size is fucking hilarious, come on. Another goofy ass scene like that had to be where Jeff dies to the Foxy because he doesn't even run, he just kind of fucking hovers towards him and screams, which just has me sent. The set was just way too bright for the animatronics to have any actual eerie atmosphere to build off of. Even when the power's off, it's just too bright. It gave the movie no actual chance to really be scary. That and also having the main scary animatronics build a fucking fort and act goofy with the main characters made make them so much more human, which, being fair, in a story sense is a very good idea, but in a horror sense, you want some inhuman monster to be the big antagonist, not some confused kid. It's kind of the same problems that Security Breach had. It's just way too bright. The main antagonists were way too human. They talked to you constantly, and there was no eeriness left to them. The only really creepy parts were like below the Pizzaplex, where all the animatronics were like dead inside and all painted and withered down. They didn't talk to you or present themselves as more human, so it automatically feels much more creepy. So for a horror movie, this was like at most a 3 of 10, and you'd only really get scared if you were like a 10-year-old who has never watched a horror movie in your life. I can already feel you guys clicking away. Don't leave. I'm grading it on multiple categories. It just sucks as a horror movie. Now, the writing for the movie is another case. On the one hand, it works very well at establishing the characters and backstory of the game, aside from William Afton himself, who literally shows up once at the beginning for like a total of 3 minutes and another 7 minutes at the end. They never really give him any screen time in the middle to flesh him out and actually give him a motive, besides, oh, he's fucking evil. Wow, I am so intrigued by your character, guys. They never really properly hint to his role, aside from like his little freak out in the beginning where he tries to read Mike's last name but just like change his demeanor entirely. And William being the one who took Mike's brother actually makes no sense from his character standpoint. And his character standpoint is coming from the games because there's literally none in the movie. Because why would he just kidnap Garrett, some random ass kid in Nebraska? In the movie, all of his killings are mainly focused on one location, but he's just gonna drive multiple states over to kidnap some random fucking kid in a park? Honestly, this plot just feels lazy and shoehorned in at the last second to give Mike some deeper meaning in the story rather than just some random ass dude working at Freddy's to keep custody of his sister. Because without the Garrett plot, which is sucky at best, he's really a nothing character to the story. And I honestly get like wanting to give him more purpose, but in this situation, less is more. And without that timeline, honestly, I could actually spend more time watching the movie and being less distracted about how stupid the plot is. We literally have no idea what happened to Garrett or William's motives for his killings in the movie. He was never fleshed out in the story in literally any way besides, oh, he's evil and shit, by Vanessa at the last like 30 minutes. With as many talking scenes this movie had, I would have just expected that time would be put to greater use. Instead, we get a bunch of boring dialogue I literally could care less about. Aside from the massive fucking failure to establish William Afton in the movie, it does do a good job with the others in some of the lore. But when it comes to common sense shit like how the police would react in the situation, or the logic behind the fucking cupcake, or some characters I swear are just being straight up blind when it's convenient, the movie's writing flops so hard. Like, come on guys, arguably a random 17-year-old on the internet thought about the logic behind the cupcake, the police, and Vanessa's ability as a police officer better than you did. And the plan that the group had to break into place to get Mike fired actually feels so hard, I genuinely cannot believe actual human beings wrote this. I've already explained multiple times about how stupid it is. So, from a writing standpoint, I'd give this movie a 6 out of 10 at best in the writing sphere, and I don't feel comfortable giving it any higher score. The writers actually got lucky and managed to buy my pity by at least writing some decent jokes and fleshing out some of the lore at least competently. And finally, for the visuals, the overall movie looks genuinely great for its budget of $20 million, but y'all's decision to use the cupcake really fucked up a decent bit of the score. The thing looks so damn cheesy anytime it's on screen moving, but that's really it. It's no intensive Marvel CGI spam, but it's definitely really good. I'd give its visuals like an 8 of 10. With that, I'd give the FNAF movie an overall score of 5.5 out of 10. It's genuinely not a masterpiece in any way, and nowhere near as good or as bad as people on Twitter have been preaching, but it is mediocre. Don't get me wrong, if you're not going into this movie as a hyper-fixated FNAF fan or critic, and able to suspend your critical thinking for a bit, you might give this movie a higher rating. But in my position, I really can't say that my overall feeling is of amazement or disappointment. It's just a feeling of meh. It's a fun and cheesy movie that I definitely watch more than once with friends, but I cannot say it's worthy of too much. But with how much money the movie's already made, I wouldn't be surprised if they make another. And with that, I'd hope they can correct some of the writing issues in the fucking cupcake. But until then, I'm gonna go back to disappearing for like 3 months. See ya. Oh, and just before I go, if y'all like this movie review and would like me to review more in the future, comment a movie below and tell me what you thought of this movie. See you for real this time though.